And you can unmute or you can put in the chat how they are the same and how they are different, and try to use math vocabulary. So these are some good warm-ups you can use for your students, just to kind of get them talking using math vocabulary, or talking about a topic you're covering, or just a general overall number sense discussion. Good number talks. So how are these the same and how are they different? Thinking of math vocabulary to use. Feel free to unmute or drop your ideas in the chat. Yeah, they both have 2 green and 2 yellow. Okay. There's both a total of 4, or quantity of 4. Both groups are made up of squares. Okay. The second one has a pattern of A, B, A, B, where the first one's A, could be A, A, B, B. Congruent. How about ratio? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Matroba.
Congruent.
Yeah, they're congruent. Okay. They're arranged by color. How about ratio? Is the ratio the same for both? So the ratio is the same, however, the pattern is different. So if we're pointing this out to our students, good visual for them when you have discussions about ratio, good discussion to have, well, the ratio is the same. And then it doesn't have to be laid out exactly like the first one in order for it to be a ratio of 2 to 2. Okay, next one. How are they the same and how are they different? Okay, ratio is the same. Yeah, these are equivalent ratios. Somebody pointed out in a classroom that I was in that this line, a student did, this line, the bottom line here is this line backwards. Took a student to see that. The quantity of each object is similar. How about thinking of the word proportion? They're proportional. Another good word to encourage our students to use when we start talking about these proportions. And the last one, how are these the same and how are they different? They both use multiplication. They both mean multiplication. Yep. They have the same factors and same products. They would have the same factor, okay, because the x would be equal to 4. They're within the same fact family. Good. These are great discussions to have when you start that solving equations part. They're both equations. Good. We want to encourage that use of vocabulary in our kids. So speaking of equations, we have been sending out by the way, there are 3 links here of same but different math. There's this one I like. Same but different math is a really good one. You can get something for every day of the year if you want. You can search that one by topic. There is also same different images on WordPress. And then there's some examples of how to use them in the classroom on that last link. If you want to estimation 180, if you want to have good discussions about number sense, you can, I think I'm not sure it's estimation180.com, but if you search estimation 180, there is a website. That is a website where you can just discuss good building number sense. If you came to our Rec and Rec training, Dr. Washington, who was there, put up some of these pictures, and it's just pictures, and they ask a question every time. So it's like, how many bags of chips do you think are on this shelf in the grocery store? And how did you find that? And it really is good for the kids to talk about these things, and you can hear their thinking. And, you know, we want our kids to use math vocabulary in the classroom as much as they can. And I saw somebody use that yesterday. They had a really good time. So there may be at your school a hands-on equations kit. These are a few pictures I took at my desk. If you've ever seen anything like this, we have been sending you some information about some training you can attend to get a hands-on equation kit for your school. That is being done by myself, and forgot to mention, I am primarily supporting middle school now. I have a few elementaries, so I'm focused a little bit more on middle school. And we have a guy, Jeff Pagel, who we hired, who's going to focus on high school. So he and I are presenting that. And then there is another one presented by the middle school team where we teach you how to use the hands-on equations kit, and we will give you one per school. It is a box of 30. I can even tell you how to buy extra things cheap if you want to from it. So I'm going to show you this video of this young lady. She's 7 years old. And she's going to solve an equation that I'm sure some of our students would have a pretty hard time solving if we introduced it to them. But hands-on equations makes it very concrete for kids.
Okay, Batya Chava, I'd like you to help me with this problem, please. Would you set it up on the scale? We have 4x's plus 5. Okay, please use the pawns and cubes. Good. And on the other side, we have 2x's plus 9. Okay, so the first question is, do you see any legal moves we can perform?
Yeah.
Okay, what legal moves do you see? You're taking away a pawn from each side. Good. Do you see any other legal moves?
Yeah.
Okay, any other legal moves?
Yeah.
What's that?
With the cube.
With the cubes. What do you want to do with the cubes?
Could take away 3 from each side.
Take away 3 from each side. Okay, so the 5 becomes a 2, and the 9 becomes
6.
a 6. Okay, very nice. Do you see any other legal moves with the cubes?
Yeah.
What's that?
1 and 1.
1 and 1 from each side? Okay,
Yeah.
why don't you do
This
that?
will be 5.
That'll be 5.
And this will be 1.
1. Good. Any other legal moves with the cubes?
Yeah.
What's that? You could use the other cube. The other cube has the smaller numbers.
Yeah. 4.
So that becomes a 4.
And this becomes 0.
A 0.
So we can take it away.
Take it away. Good. So if you simplified the problem, you now have 2 x's are 4. How much is each x?
2.
Okay, would you please write down over here, take the pen, write down x equals to 2.
Why don't we do it more down a little bit?
What's that? You can move
Why
it
don't we
down?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Write it over here. X equals to 2. Good. Now, why don't you close the pen? And now, what we want to do is do the check. Can you put up the original problem one more time, please?
Yeah.
Yes, you have 4x's plus 5.
This will be
equal 2x's plus 9. Good. Now, we said that x is 2, so we have to evaluate each side. Can you figure out what this is over here?
8 plus 5 is 13. And
2, 4, 6, 8, and 5 is 13. Okay, right over here, 13 equals. Okay, let's figure out what this side is. Each one is 2. 9
plus 4 is 13.
How do you know 9 and 4 is 13?
Because here was 9, the cube is 9, and then this is 4 because there's 2 points, and each of them is 2.
Okay, so that's 13.
Equals 13.
Okay, so both sides have the same value. So x equals to 2 is correct. How old are you, Batya?
7.
7. Okay, very nice.
17.
Huh?
7 and 17.
You say it again?
7 and 17, I don't know.
What?
I'm 7 and something, like, I think
7
maybe,
and something?
Yeah, maybe I'm 7 and a half, I don't know.
So that was Dr. Henry Borenson, who was the creator of hands-on equations. And wouldn't we love for some of our kids to be able to solve that kind of problem in our classrooms? I know we all would. So if you attend, my slide won't cooperate with me. There we go. All right, you can attend our trainings. We have a couple options. Engaging mathematicians through hands-on learning is a full day. It is middle school focused. And that is done by Tina Gallucci and her team from the academics department. And then exploring math with hands-on equations and algebra tiles is done by Jeff Pagel and I, and it's only half day. It is listed as high school, but however, you're going to take things back to your classroom from that. We also have Math for All. Unfortunately, we can't give you a hands-on equations kit from that, but that is Dr. Chris Kane from Mars Hill, who is one of the writers of Foundations of Math, and he gives excellent PD. We got really great reviews from it last time. We have about 40 people attend, so we were real excited about that. Those are on the upcoming PD days. For any of these that are on, we're not providing subs for these at this time. We're only providing subs for Foundations of Math right now through our budget. But if you notice, one of the things in hands-on equations that I really liked, I spent a week at NCAT, and I know Trisha's going to talk a little bit about that, working with them. I know that if you notice, like I used to tell my kids, I used to write this little procedure, we're going to move the constant, and we'd move the constant. She didn't have to do that. She was able to visually see, they call them legal moves, that she had 2 here, she could remove 2 here. But notice when she started her subtraction of her numbers, she's like, I can take 2 away and I can take 1 away. And some of our students might need to do that to solve an equation. And then we talk about in the training how to go into then the representational phase and link it to the abstract. So if kids are stuck, they can draw a picture on some of these. So it's a really fun training. We give you time to play and you take home your hands-on equations kit that day. Okay, so I am going to turn it, Trisha, I'm going to let one of you or whoever's on here, I'm going to let one of you guys drive. And I'm going to turn it over to Patricia Matroba. We're going to kind of talk about resetting for second semester. And getting some new classroom routines in place.
Matroba, do you want me to drive or do you want to drive?
You drive better than I do.
And I'm going to have to, I am at a workshop, so I am going to have to leave at 4:30 to go back into the last session there.
Okay, so
I'll drive for this part and then you can drive for whatever's left. How about that?
yeah, because I'm at the end, I think.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, let me get this going here. Give me
You
1
have to
second.
leave.
Whoops, hold on 1 second here. I have to hit the wrong button first. Here we go. Share.
While she's getting ready to share, if you all have not been to NCAT, it is beautiful. The Ocracoke one is gorgeous. It's just so relaxing, and you get time to do PD and see the beach. And the only way out there is to buy a ferry. Which ferry did you take, Trisha?
Swan Quarter.
Oh, you took the long one. Okay, we took the short free one. But I heard the Swan Quarter one's nice. Yeah.
Swan Quarter, I was driving by myself, so I could drive. It was very nice to be able to sit and read or take a nap because I came in early. So
yeah. What is that? 2 hours and 45 minutes?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
So can everybody see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So if you've not been to NCAT and you're a public school teacher, you should go. They have their workshops are all free. Now, your principal does have to either pay for your sub days or agree to let you take leave or work something out as far as how they're going to cover your classes. But the professional development, I've been twice. The professional development is high quality. They treat you like a professional. You have opportunities for downtime. They feed you 3 wonderful meals a day. There's snacks and drinks and time to talk with other professionals here. And like I said, the workshops are usually general enough that you can apply them to a lot of different situations, but also kind of catered to meet the needs of teachers today. So I just listed some of their upcoming workshops here. You can click, I think I linked it right here with this pink link. You can go there and you can go to their site and see what they have available. They do have some virtual options and some completely asynchronous options, but I highly recommend you take advantage of something either at Ocracoke or Cullowhee, just because it's good for your soul. And especially going into second semester, for some of you, it might be your first year teaching or second year teaching, or, even if it's your 10th or 20th year teaching, it's good for a renewal, and you need that too. So, Joy, is there anything you want to add to it?
No, I was going to add the food is great. I've been to both. I've been to Cullowhee twice, and I did one on NASCAR. We actually met in Concord, North Carolina, and stayed near the track on that one. And then I've been to Ocracoke once, and it is you will feel like a student. The pressure's not there. You'll just be learning, and you eat so good. I mean, like there's food everywhere all the time.
Yes,
so, it's great.
And good people. I mean, just people that really want to take care of you for that week. So, highly recommend that you look into it. There's also opportunities when you're out, either tracked out or out for the summer. It's worthwhile giving up a little bit of that time to do this because it'll feel like a vacation for you as well. At least that's the way I felt both times I've been. So, all right. One of the strategies that we've talked about at the workshop I'm at currently is called Convince Me That. And she actually changed it. The presenter changed it to Convince Us That, so that they were kind of convincing the whole class. And you take away basically the question or the prompt. And this one is just convince me that 9 times 4 is equal to 40 minus 4. Let me see if this will, give me 1 second. Hopefully everybody can see the how-tos and benefits there. I think I switched to the right one. So basically you find a question or a word problem, you remove the question, you give the students the answer and ask them to convince you that it's true. You give people a little bit of time to think about it and come up with what their strategy might be. And then you can have people work together. The benefits are that there's no fear of being wrong. It slows them down and has them focus on the thinking rather than answer getting. You're moving beyond procedures because they're going to use visuals. They're going to use lots of other things to help prove that it's correct. They've got a lot of drawing, so a lot of representational and pictorial, and it's something that is pretty easy for you to do as well. So let me go back here. So you would give that to them, and then they would go through and do it. While the groups are doing it, if you want to have groups of 2, you could have one person being the writer, one person being the speaker. And then while students are working, teachers monitoring student answers. You're using those 5 practices, anticipating, monitoring. Then you're selecting parts of problems from different groups that you want students to gallery walk through and look at. And you're being mindful in the way you sequence them and how you connect them to the concept that you want them to understand. So on this slide, there's a whole website that has these. So if you go down here, you can go through this presentation here. You can also download the presentation if you would rather, but it's got a whole bunch of, there's printable templates if you want to do it with one person, but there's all kinds of problems. that will go through all of these, all the way up to some pretty hard ones. Trying to think if it'll let me go all the way to the end here. But yeah, it'll go through as hard as, see if it'll let us do that here. So it'll send you to a bunch of different ones. And they get progressively harder. So strongly recommend that take a look at that, give it a try. It was a lot of fun for us, even as adults. And I think it would be good in a middle school classroom and probably a high school classroom. I'm here with a bunch of, they're actually using Math 1 content in this workshop. So it was applicable for high school as well. Any questions about Convince Me That or MCAT? Okay. Can everybody still see the slide that says semester 2 reset? I skipped around a lot, so I just want to make sure. Oh, good. Okay. All right. So welcome back. Some of you have started back. Some of you will start back soon. So welcome back to semester 2 of the 23-24 school year. At the halfway point, it's always a good time to take a look at how our students are doing and think about what's going well and maybe what needs some improvement. And I think even if your kids are growing, the way you want them to, the what went well, what needs improvement, there's always things we can improve on. So it's a worthy conversation to have. I think these conversations and the looking at data can involve both students and teachers. And if you have opportunities to involve parents or assistant principals or your department, I think it can involve those as well. Some of the things that you might want to take a look at are your NC check-in data, if your kids have taken any of those. It's hard sometimes, depending on where our students are, to use those as a measure of growth. But I think you can look at how they did with each question type and maybe try to see if they picked up, how well they did with things that maybe you focused more on or you feel like you have strengths in. I think your curriculum facilitator should be able to help you. Maybe it's a different person at different schools, should be able to help you getting that data and kind of going through it if you're uncertain about how to do that. STAR math data, we're getting ready to take the winter check-in for that. So that's a good, just a general growth point to see if they're making some progress in areas where maybe they weren't so strong previously. Common assessment data, especially if you're using the same assessments that your general ed cohorts are, or if you're using the ones that you have in Canvas from SES Math, seeing how they're doing on that, taking into consideration, how much support you're giving them, and kind of looking at their levels of understanding with those things. Always important to look at their IEP goal progress monitoring data, make sure they're on track to meet those goals. I think interviews with students or co-teachers is an important and valuable tool, checking in with students to see how they feel about their growth and understanding. Because we can't always measure every part of a student's growth with a test or an assessment. So I think getting their input, how do they feel? Can they follow the instruction? Do they feel like when they're working with a partner, they're able to do that? Those are all good questions. Asking your co-teachers, paraprofessionals in the room, how they feel like things are going, where they see strengths, where they see needs. A lot of times they can offer very valuable information that maybe you, as the person who might be delivering or facilitating instruction most of the time, might not pick up on. And then I think looking at any informal observations about math and behavior, you may have a kid that hasn't grown a whole lot, but that is now showing their work, or is starting problems and is trying, or is asking for help for maybe the first time. So that's growth that maybe can't be measured yet, by those assessments that we have. And then also looking at behaviors. You know, you have kids that maybe their problematic behaviors have decreased in math class. Maybe they're coping in a better way. Maybe those work effort behaviors are getting better. So taking a look at those. There's lots of other data sources. Does anybody have anything else that they find that they're looking at when they get to the end of the quarter or the end of the semester before they move into the next part?
Brittany mentioned IXL. That's really good. And Matroba said data chats with students.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, you know, if you need some help, like figuring out where this kid is, you know, what's going on here, get the star data and what you need to pinpoint, we can help you find that out. We can help you figure that out too. So we can work with you on problem solving and moving your instruction forward for specific students.
Because it's hard. Sometimes there's so many data sources, it's hard to figure out what to look at. And then, you know, you've got to look at, did they give good effort and things like that. So please reach out if you need some extra support with finding out those things. Matroba, is there anything else you look at when you're looking at kind of what you might need to do the same or differently as you move into the next semester?
Well, I do the data checks, look at everything, and I have the students actually what we do, we have the students reflect, do a reflection sheet, also help them to graph it, because when they see it actually in a graph or see how they've grown, they get real excited. Like today, we just did the star of math, and I showed it to them, and the students are very anxious to see how their scores are on that graph. So that helps them. They're like, oh, I'm making growth. It doesn't matter if they're still in the yellow or in the blue. They're just seeing now in their head that long as they're making growth, they're doing good. So that is an encouragement.
Yeah, absolutely. Visuals are a great thing to use with students. Thank you. All right. I think one of the things that I struggle with still with, just with math and kind of making sure that I get through everything is pacing. So you may have your own strategy for that. And if you do, that's totally fine. But if you're like, I'm not sure what to do, I'm halfway through the year and I'm behind, I just try to put a little flow chart in place that might help you. I would encourage you, if you're more than a full unit behind, to maybe reach out to Joy, or maybe even talk with one of your math teachers at your school, or another special ed teacher who's teaching math there, and try to problem solve around how can you make sure you're still exposing them and giving them some hands-on stuff with each unit.
And I had to do this last year too, because there were some teachers who, like, the position, things weren't going as they should, or a new teacher came in January, and we can help you hit the high points too. Like, what lessons and what things should you hit? And this table really lays it out. But yeah, what things you should really hit. We can help you pick out the lessons for that as well.
Yeah, and somewhere there is a Open Up actually did a priority lesson thing, but I can never find it when I'm looking for it. So if I find that, I'll share that too. But I know it's definitely important to try to make sure you get to everything, even if it's an abridged version of everything. If you're within a unit, you may be able to kind of combine some lessons. Instead of doing 2 activities in a lesson, maybe you only do 1 and combine it with the next one if they're similar enough. But again, reach out if you have questions to each other, to Joy, to math people in your building, and see what their thoughts are. And then just make a plan and try to go forward. One of the things that I do with my kids at each quarter really is a what went well and what needs work kind of conversation. Oh, go ahead. I heard a ding.
It's Matroba. Go ahead.
It was me.
Go ahead.
I was ready to tell you. I'm sorry. But having just giving a little bit of each unit is helpful, but I do target when you target just the highlights. If you look in, you can go and look at the in the grade assessment and see the areas, and just target those areas where you actually do a little bit more, but you still will need to kind of hit everything
Mhm.
so they can build upon those skills so they know how to do them. But I used to stress and try, oh, I got to finish everything. I don't do that anymore. I hit a lot of the highlights or I modify a lot of things, and sometimes I have to stay on things a long time. But just um, don't focus on and get so overwhelmed. I have to. And it's okay to go forward and come back and revisit it when it's
Mhm.
time to review, so you can keep up with your pacing also.
Well, and I think you'll find that a lot of things build on each other. And if you're doing the practice problems, a lot of time open up circles back. So you'll have that practice kind of built in or that kind of coming back to things. And you never know. Sometimes some time away from it and moving on to something that's a little bit different but still related helps kids to kind of get it. Thanks, Maturba. So this is just a conversation I have in this video, and you're welcome to watch this. We can play it now if you want to, or you can watch it later. But it's pretty short. It's just it's about having a meeting with the people that are in the class, whether it's the IAs, the students, if there's other adults in a class, and it's looking at what's going well and what needs work. And I really like this because it involves everybody in goal setting. You can use it to kind of target behavior kinds of things. You could use it maybe with your pacing, that you want to be able to maybe finish these 2 units by the end of the 9 weeks. You could use it to focus on behaviors that will help you to do that. So I'm going to play this, but I'm just going to forward it to the part that shows you the visual that I really
Retrospectives are
like.
my
This part right
it
here.
affected the team quite.
And hopefully everybody can see it. Can you all see that sailboat picture?
Yes.
Okay, great. So this kind of, when you're having the discussion, it kind of just helps kids to visualize their progress towards a goal. You talk about things with the sunshine or the wind they mention. You talk about things that have pushed the team along and have gone well for the team. And then this little anchor is things that have maybe held them back. And then you have these risks, these rocks, or in this situation, it's rocks, but you could do any kind of visual for them that might prevent you from reaching your goal. So, with those risks, you talk about potential things that you're going to really try to avoid. I found that what went well, what needs work, really is a good way to kind of help kids think about getting back on track and give them some ownership. And sometimes, I know I've had great situations with instructional assistants, and I've had some not so great situations. Sometimes it's even helpful for all of the adults in the room to have the buy-in and to realize that we're all a part of making sure that our classroom is moving forwards towards our goal. So does anybody else have any other kind of like classroom meeting strategies or community strategies that they use when they're kind of looking at starting a new 9 weeks, or kind of adjusting things to move forward towards their goals that they find are really helpful?
Yeah, retrospectives are my
Right.
favorite aspect of the Scrum process.
All right. The last thing that this was another thing that we learned about here this week. We've done what's called a math empathy map, and we've talked about in our small groups as teachers, but I think this is something that you could use with students as well. What does it mean to be a middle school mathematician? What kinds of things do we want our students to say? What kinds of things do we want them to think? what kinds of things do we want to see them do, and what kinds of things do we want them to feel. Um, and I think this was interesting because we did this activity together, and then we actually did a thing where we just on sticky notes listed the challenges that we see our kids having, and they correspond to, not being able to communicate, to trouble with their thinking sometimes, or not having the prerequisite skills, to not showing their work, to not knowing where to start, and then to how, they've got some emotions about math. So that was a really neat connection that we made. I think you could use this solo, just you as a reflection activity, kind of looking at what do you want to see your kids do, more than just I want my kids to pass the EOG, but how do you want to see them grow as a math person? I think you could do it with a PLC. If you all the math, anyone that teaches math inclusion or math essentials in your school could get together and do this and talk about that. I think you could also do it as a whole class. So any questions, or does anybody else want to share anything that maybe they've done with their classroom to kind of reset and prioritize moving ahead for the second semester?
Okay.
All right.
Well, this okay. I'm gonna stop. You can stop. You want to stop sharing, and then
Yeah, I
go
just
to-
did. Yep. Because
Okay.
I've got to run back and do the picnic activity.
Okay.
Today is our last day here. Most of the NCAT things, while she's putting hers up to share, most of them are about a week. You come in on a Monday. They usually start on Monday afternoon, and they usually end Friday morning. So it's fantastic.
Are you doing that scavenger hunt game? What is it? She had us do a scavenger hunt game. It was on her phone.
Oh, Goose Chase.
Yes, that was so much fun.
It is
People in
fun.
town thought we were crazy.
I'm trying to think of ways that I can do it with kids, and I think I've determined if I use my phone just to help with like group behavior in class, especially in ICR. So anyway, thanks, guys. I'll see you later.
Have your kids go teach somebody something. We had to go talk to people in town. It was great. It was funny.
Yep. We were supposed to get a piggyback ride by a stranger, but it stormed really bad, so we didn't do that. All right. See you later. Bye, Matroba. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You're good.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I unmute my mic first. Okay. All right. So actually, to piggyback off of what Patricia was saying, to kind of reset the second part of the year, this is also something that you can do. It's why establish structure and routines in the classroom. A lot of times when they go on the break or where to come back, you have to really come back and refocus on the expectations of your classroom, your routine, and it helps. So I know here at the school that I work at, and that's what they expect for us to do. Every time we, go out and have a lengthy break, we come back and we review what we have, our classroom rules, non-negotiables. We have something that is absolutely no negotiable. You will like no wearing hoodies, no cell phones and all that in the building. But however, establishing structure and routine help maximize learning in the classroom. And then teaching structure and routines daily actually reinforces classroom expectations and the class management. You have good class management by doing that. All right, now classroom and instructional routines, providing students with a set of expectations. A lot of times by modeling your expectations, verbal, but also have it written and posted in the classroom. A lot of times I put it by the door. You can also have it on your website, your classroom website. You can have it on a class letter or newsletter from that you send home, maybe quarterly, or I'm not sure how often you do it, but I used to do it every quarter. I used to send out, or monthly, I used to send out a newsletter to the families, let them know what we are doing, the standards we're working on, expectations of the students, and I read it to the students and have it sent home. Some examples of setting expectations is students actively participate as teacher work on board and overhead. Now, it's very frustrating when you're standing in front of the class or wherever you're doing your instruction and the students are not paying attention to you. So having them expectations of the students that when you're writing and taking, they are taking notes also. Also having procedures in place when they even come in the classroom, or posting it outside of the classroom, or hanging it over the door, giving them instructions like when they come in to get their interactive notebook, get the computers, get the instructional supply boxes, maybe getting the calculator before class start. Having those in place and being ready for class is helps with a lot of instructional, the procedures and everything that you have in place, and time is be on task. They'll be more on task and give you more time instead of trying to wait for someone to sharpen a pencil, someone to get this. It's time where you have time where you can deliver your instruction. Support the creation of a classroom community. I have implemented this in class where I saw a lot of students. I have them ask a question of them, and they don't know how to respond. I'm trying to get my light back on. Hold on for a second. Okay. They don't know how to respond, or they just freeze and don't know. So to help support the students, I came up with an idea where calling on another student to help you out, and where they pick the student themselves. And it's like phone a friend or ask someone for help. And this is a way for just a strategy to have in place for students to ask for another student for help, so they feel comfortable. And that's even though they don't they might be embarrassed or anything, but this way is to help them to ask for help from another peer. And then also I assign peer helpers. Signing a peer helper, especially if you're working with a small group. Say you're working with a small group, but then you're not quite ready to work with the other group. Having those peer helpers to float around in the classroom will give you that more time to actually work with some students that are struggling, and then you can come back to it. So having that extra support in class. I even got a student that I call her my teacher assistant. And so that work. At this time, before I go any further, are there any questions about anything? Could someone unmute and tell and just say it, because I'm not looking at the chat. Yes or no?
No questions.
I got my eye on the chat, but go ahead, Brittany.
Okay.
Oh, I just said no questions.
Okay. Thank you, Brittany.
If
All
there's
right.
something on the chat, I'll break in.
Okay. Next, and this is what I use in my classroom time, and I have it posted. So this thing over here, I have pictures. I was trying to give visuals, but help to maintain smooth transition. A lot of times in the classroom, you're like, oh, it's time to do this and this and this, especially with OUR, and you're trying to do OUR and you're trying to focus on their IEP goals and everything. So you need to have some kind of routine where you can smoothly transition from one activity to the next. And this right here, Champs, has helped me with the transitioning, especially when I work in small groups. But before then, okay, I jump in ahead because I'm excited about this part that I want to share. But also having informed students and model what you want them to do. Because it's very frustrating to students. And it was like, what do we do? Make sure that you inform them and you model it also. what you want them to do. Provide students time to complete assignments. I know I'm in a class, and then I mentioned it to the teacher today, and she's like, "Oh, you have 15 minutes to work," and I'm working with small groups with students. Okay, and then she said, "Okay, this and this," and I was like, we need a timer because the time is not is getting shorter and shorter." And she admitted, she said, "Oh yes, I have a hard time with that." So I'm gonna share this with her also. But it's champs, and it's a small video also. This helps you with, especially when you have students. It's a lot of students in the classroom, and you're trying to give them instructions, and you want them to model. So right here, this is a video. I'm gonna just click. It's a live clip. It's just showing you. It's a little quick video. It's 2 minutes.
We can't hear it.
Oh,
I need to present it as a tab, and sometimes that works better.
okay.
Yeah.
So I have to present it as a just put. You mean just copy and
If
paste
you
it?
go back to share your screen and go to share tab.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing.
Yeah. And then share that tab the video's on, and it'll do better.
Okay, let's see. Okay, let me stop. It says share.
I don't know why that works better, but it just does.
I'm trying to see. Okay, where I'm trying to see what the share is.
It'll say the little box at the bottom, and it'll say share your window, share a tab.
From the
And-
video?
Yeah, just choose the tab, choose the YouTube tab for the video.
I'm trying to see it.
Or I can do it from here. I got it.
You can. Okay.
I'll do
Yeah,
it.
I tell you that, and then we need to probably have one for technology. We're gonna have to do some technology. I hope somebody, because I need help with the technology.
There we go.
CHAMPS, a classroom management approach.
Oh, I muted it.
Using Powtoon.
Okay. All right. Can we?
Shopify really enabled us to go from 0 to 7 figures in our first year.
You can see your inventory, you can see your sales, your metrics, you can see your traffic, your conversion, all in real time, and make decisions that affect your day-to-day business.
It is the central hub in which all customer information comes and goes.
It's the easiest.
Okay. All right, thank you.
When your expectations are clear.
Okay. All right, now I'm going to share the
Sorry, my
presentation.
mouse was all over the place. So where'd it go?
It's all right. That's just one stream left, and I'm
Okay.
I'll be finished.
I
All
think
right.
one thing I want to say about that is it's really, really important when you teach your kids. Our kids have difficulty learning. We know that. And when you have difficulty learning, you have difficulty with transferring. So our kids have difficulty transferring, especially in middle school, procedures when they're changing teachers. Teacher A may have different ones than teacher B and teacher C. So it's really important for you to teach your procedures in your classroom and practice it with them, and they'll learn that. They also have trouble, things at home are different. So when we go out for a long weekend, everybody's got to reset a little bit. It's okay to revisit expectations. I think in the end, kids really appreciate that when this stuff is clear. So,
Yes.
You got one more thing?
Yes, it's just that what you just said, you actually said it for the
Okay.
next slide. It's okay. Yeah. All right.
And then
It's just
the link in there pulls up all kinds of expectations and spreadsheets and stuff as well. Yeah, the CHAMPS template.
that link right there. Yes. And so, and that's all I wait a minute, go back. I think I had another one. Oh no, that was it. That was it. Okay. And so right here, like what Joy said, actually having clear expectations and practicing them daily, going over everything so students will know exactly what you want and you're expecting of them is very, very helpful. And this is a link right here. Joy, when I clicked it, it's not really opening. I have it, but it's not, it has this right here, but it's not allowing me to get in it. It's because you're the owner, maybe?
I shared it with everyone. Let me make sure.
Because I want everybody to be able to have access. It's the posters, how to set it up and everything.
Everybody should have access to everything in the folder, but I'll go through.
Okay.
I'll go through one by one and make sure it says, let's see, share. Yeah, it should be accessible by anyone with Wake County schools.
Okay, let me open it again. It's expectations and there's posters. And actually what I have that's on mine on the slide that you see here, we kind of designed it ourselves and color coded and just made some colors. The intervention person kind of made it, and let me see if I was going to try to make it bigger, but it's not showing up. But the one on the side, and I have a little, when I want to move, it's like work alone with a partner or with a group. I have magnets. These little things on the side are magnets, and I can just move them around. So that's very helpful. And the students know to look there, and just in case they forget, they can refer back to these posters that I have in the front of the classroom to see what they're supposed to be doing. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. I'm going to stop sharing now.
Okay. All right. Our next meeting is, again, all of our links. If you are new to our group, I'll go back on the next to last slide in the presentation, are all the links to the resources. And this is our contact information. Right now, I'm primarily supporting middle school. So just shoot me an email and I'm happy to come out. I'm probably going to start just showing up at some middle schools soon, just so that I can see how things are working for everyone. I encourage your faculty, and if they have math questions, special ed math questions, whether they're gen ed teachers or ICR, CA, whatever they teach, encourage them to reach out, because I don't just support essentials. We do have this PLC for essentials, but I support all the math in middle school.